What up, my guys? Welcome to another show, man. Late night NBA talk with Jay Money and my guy Shark here, man. We just looking at some NBA games here from an early standpoint. We'll be trying to get some cash for you guys, just like every single day here. Shark, what's up with you, my guy? Everything cool with you?
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's great to get on here late night. We're watching the football game, which is just an absolute disaster. It is so boring. I mean, I was like, let's fucking talk some NBA basketball. Of course, the slate is going right now, a bunch of stuff going on. We appreciate you guys coming in here. 2 games tomorrow, and let's just chat it up, man. Talk to me. Let's bring it down a notch. Let's bring some comments in here, some questions. If people have any questions about capping, games, what's going on here, we can give you some more looks, some more angles, and just flow. It's nice to get in flow and not be so professional about it. So let's do it.
Exactly, and that's what the late night show is. So just vibed out, man. If y'all want, like I say, put some questions in the chat. Any question you have, hey, we'll be happy to answer them. Got plenty of time, my guy. Let's get to this first game, man. We got the Knicks over here, Shark. We got them now. They got a back-to-back spot here versus Timberwolves. We know it's a revenge spot. The last time these two faced off, I believe we were on the Knicks that day in Minnesota. They didn't have any of their guys. Only one starter out there, Patrick Beverly. Now you got Vanderbilt, Russell, Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns. The band is back. That's why you see the line open up at basically pick -1. Obviously, the lines on Timberwolves, it's supposed to be a different line. Like I say, they come on the road here after playing that one home game. The only way I can look at Shark, I think that the Knicks may go on a little slide here. Well, really just this game. They could win the next couple games versus the Pelicans and the Clippers, but I do see them dropping this game. I think the Timberwolves gonna come and show out here at Madison Square Garden. What you think about that?
Yeah, no, I'm just laughing because we unavoidably can't keep it non-professional. We're like right back in the zone here. I love it. I'm gonna crack a beer. I'm gonna take it down a notch just to keep it a little bit unprofessional. Just this for the sake of unprofessionalism. Cheers up, fears down, guys. Bud Light, let's go. If anybody in the chat's having a beer, watching the game, I see you guys. But no, I mean, you laid the table 100%. I mean, this is a Wolves spot. That's why I'm wearing the hat. I bought the hat. That's why I have 2 Wolves hats, actually. Of course, they cleaned up 2 nights ago into the Dubs. They're just such a damn good buy team here. It's just, we talk about line functionality all the time. And the one thing that I really want to reiterate is that oftentimes over the course of the last 10 years, I've been scaling this in a really deep way for like 6, 7, or 8. You will see a roster move like that where they don't move the number to the Wolves, where they get all their players back and it's still Knicks -4.5. So that's where you get the transparency within it. And I don't want to ruin the show tomorrow, but truthfully, this is the spot tomorrow, 100%. There's only 2 games, and you just look at what's going on here. You said it, but the Knicks did win 6 in a row in Madison Square Garden, so of course they were awful for so long. They should win 6 in a row to get back to some sort of neutral average. But at the same time, after losing one yesterday or today, it seems like yesterday, but today, they could easily drop another one here. Easily. And I think at -1, you're looking at a great figure. And I don't know if that's going to get steamed up. We talk about early steam and whatever, but I don't know if that's going to get steamed up. But I mean, I wouldn't hesitate to play it right now if you guys see -1 on your book.
Yeah, it was I saw it like at a half, minus a half, but it's basically open up at pick. It's going -1 for the Timberwolves. I'll be on the Wolves here, man. I like them. They're 8-3-1 against the spread last 12 road games. It's the revenge spot as well from December 28th. They lost 96-88. They got all their guys back. They have the rest advantage now. Minnesota has the since they got their guys back, number 2 defense the last 2 games, defensive rating. Now you look at the Knicks, their defense has dropped off a cliff. They're number 22 defensively last couple games. And this is another thing that I noticed. When you play in the Knicks, right, they're not necessarily a juggernaut offensively squad. What do you see versus the Hornets? They had too much offense for the Knicks to keep up. What are the Hornets run a fast pace? Timberwolves, exact same thing. Number 2 fastest pace in the league over the last 5 games. The Knicks, number 30th in pace. You basically have strength versus weakness here. I think the Timberwolves going to run them off the floor here, Short.
Yeah, I mean, as a Knicks fan, I mean, I watch the Knicks all the time. I got league pass down here in Florida. And the Knicks are hard to figure out. But I think fortunately for us as cappers, they're becoming a little bit easier to figure out, which is nice. Because when you can figure out the Knicks, you can make money off them. I mean, they cashed tickets for people all last year. I mean, it was a cash cow, primarily because they covered every single game. So when they cover every single game, it's not exactly sharp capping. It's just, well, they cover every game, so fucking pound them. Of course, this year it's totally different. I mean, they're all over the grid. But again, I think this is just an awful spot for them. You get a weird weekday back-to-back with that matinee earlier. I mean, they were dead. They were absolutely dead. They sucked. And, at some point, I think it's going to come back to bite them in the ass that they never really integrated Kemba Walker properly. And Derrick Rose has been on the bench, too. Derrick Rose is a dude who has reinvented his career, I mean, immensely, and has the ability to score off the dribble that is something that the Knicks just absolutely lack. I mean, RJ Barrett can take guys off the top of the key, off the dribble, but he's inconsistent. And he doesn't have that. The one thing he really does miss is he misses just as you're dribble driving aggressively, just to stop on a dime, little floater lane. Like, he's a little bit too raw with that, I think. And he's going to get into it. I mean, he's a young kid. He's also super long, for his position. So he's a little bit stiff with the shot. But I think the Knicks right here are just primed to get cleaned up by the Wolves potentially. I think the Wolves can win this game by double digits, really.
Yeah, no, I think it's gonna be like I said. I think this is another one, like you say, figuring out the teams. I think the Knicks struggle with guys that have a fast point guard and teams that push the pace because the Knicks, they like to kind of slow it down, play a defensive type of game, like to go through their methodical type of offense. I think the Timberwolves can score way too quick and score in bunches. Like I say, Russell, Edwards in this one getting to the rim. Another thing, Karl Anthony Towns as well. You got Vanderbilt, a damn good matchup against Julius Randle. I like how this Timberwolves team is surging offensively and defensively, tied right now with the Lakers for that 8th spot over there in the West. But I think the Timberwolves are definitely due to come up here, and I think we got to ride them. This team has really made me some money this year, man. I think the Timberwolves, they love me, guys.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about, like I just said with the Knicks last year, they covered every game, so it was super obvious. The Wolves is not, incredibly obvious, but to a certain degree, maybe it is. I mean, they basically cover every single game D'Angelo Russell plays with the full group. And when he didn't play, we talk about this all the time, it was all or nothing. They covered 8 in a row, and then they didn't cover 7 in a row. Now they're covering every single game again. And I just think when you look at this, you could forget about NBA capping in any sort of numerical way. I think fans on the street that really look at this as almost a fantasy roster could take the Wolves here at -1 and cover the spread. Because I think the Wolves, as you just mentioned, have an incredibly deep roster, very well drafted. I think something that's not talked about a lot, Jay, something that's not talked about a lot at all, they got 3 top 3 picks as their top 3 players. You got Towns at 1, you got Edwards at 1, and you got D'Lo at what, 2? I mean, that's not talked about a lot at all. You watch ESPN, Max Kellerman, and these guys bloviating a bunch of bullshit. You never hear about any of this stuff. The Wolves have 3 top 3 players drafted top 3. I mean, that's fucking insane shit, bro.
Yeah, and I think all 3 of them going to turn up in the Garden as well. We always talk about it. I talked about it earlier today. Visiting teams want to come to Madison Square Garden and turn up. This game is on NBA TV. I didn't think that the game today was supposed to be, but that early game was on NBA TV. So we'll see if the Knicks can turn up here, if they can put together another effort. But I think the Timberwolves have too much offense for them here, Shark. Another game, we got this Warriors spot over here, Shark. Obviously, don't have the line yet. It's going to come out at double digits. Curry's coming back. They won't have Green for a while. We know that the Warriors won with their B team versus the Pistons. They were up 18 points in that game. It was a third game in 4 nights, all on the road. It was a terrible travel spot, and they still, like I say, led by 18, only won by 3. But it just goes to show you they can still smack this squad. I know the Pistons coming off a game where they got absolutely smacked. They have played a Western Conference road trip, but I still think that the Warriors, they're 2-0. ATS coming back to the house after 4 more game road trips. So it's not necessarily a funky spot for them. I think this is probably going to be a trifecta spot for the Warriors. It may not be super easy. Obviously, they're a different squad without Draymond Green, but the way I'm looking at this one, I think this is going to be a smash spot here. And they're also they're 8-3 against the spread coming off a loss, Shark. So this is one of the times that you want to back the Warriors.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Pistons just got absolutely hammered by the Suns, which is not necessarily the greatest thing. But as you said, the Warriors coming home have been very good and almost inexplicably good, because that's an awful spot historically in NBA basketball, coming off a trip, coming across coast, coming against a lackluster opponent that you have cleaned up. Of course, the first game was contaminated. I went 1-1 in that game. I had 2 bets. I lost the inflated line, which I played the night before. Unfortunately, then I rebought it at 2.5 and covered that. They won by 3 points. So we split that one. But of course, I advise you guys going back to, I believe it was very early season. It was like early November or something, to take that. And I think when we look at this line, this probably should be what? 12 and a half, 13, somewhere around there.
Still without Draymond, I'd say 12. I was thinking 10 and a half, 11, because like I say, we still no Draymond, and he does matter over there. Obviously, the offense is looking different, but the way I'm looking at this one, they had 5 players didn't play the last game. There was no Curry, no Draymond Green the last time as well. Otto Porter Jr. or Iguodala sat out that game, and Frank Jackson, he was the best player on the floor for the Pistons, came and scored 27 points off the bench. He won't be over there this time around. So full disclosure, the Pistons weren't playing necessarily good. Now they have started to play a little better with this roster group playing for their coach, but I just think that they're overmatched in this spot. Obviously, you have the sketchy motivation factor where this time, one of those games it was versus the Kings, so obviously they're not necessarily an opponent that you're going to look ahead to. Warriors still cleaned them up by 15 on a minus 13 to have, and I mean you could argue that the Kings are a more deadly offensive team than the Pistons. I really just see the Warriors locking down here defensively on these Pistons, and when they get blown out, like if they get down by 10, most of the time, like, and especially with this Warriors game, I think they could mail this in. I really do think this could be a 30-point win by the Warriors here. So I think it'll get away. They've lost 3 or 4. They knew there was a bad stretch. They ran out of gas in Minnesota. I think they come back to the house versus a doormat and step all over these guys.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, you saw what happened. The last time the Pistons played an angry team that was highly qualified was the game at the Bulls, going back to last week, and the Bulls did hammer them by 40. So, it's not, and we made the comment that day. We talked about it actually later, and somebody just said recap the board. Maybe we could do that. We can go into tonight's card and discuss it after this if we have a little time here. But when you see these teams like the Pistons, right? They're very young. They don't really defend. They kind of, I hate to say they're G League, but they don't really play a high level of professional NBA basketball on both sides of the court. These teams like the Warriors, the Bulls, the Bucks, I mean, you name it, these top level squads, the Nets. I got Nets back in the chat. I had to plug them there. Cheers up, fears down, my man. But truly, they don't have to even play that great of basketball because this team, as a real prerequisite point, is not going to defend them at all. Mm-hmm. And that's where the Bulls got off. Vucevic, all these guys, Levine, they were just dropping just 3 after 3 after 3. And of course, you look at the Warriors, what the hell is their brand? I mean, historically, I say Steph Curry changed the game for better or worse. They're the 3-ball assassins. So I think it's not even necessarily like the Pistons have to necessarily play that awful of a game. Just these high-class opponents can just blow them out by 30 without even playing great basketball.
Yeah, I think this one gonna get over quick. To be honest with you, I see a trifecta spot for the Warriors. I think they'll come out hot. I don't think they'll look back. Now, the Pistons have some scrappiness. Must say, they don't really – lately, they hadn't been giving up on games. But like you say, damn good corollary spot versus the Bulls and that one. And you look at it as well, the Warriors been cleaning up these teams' Eastern Conference. They're 7-0 straight up at the house versus the East and 6-1 against the spread. So it doesn't matter who comes in over there, they play these Eastern Conference team at the house. They show them what's up on how it goes over there on the West Coast, man. So I'm seeing a trifecta spot for the Warriors. I would say that Minnesota spot, even though they're on the road, is a lot stronger spot just because obviously the motivation is always sketchy. But like you say, I think the Warriors can cover this game on accident, just like they were up 18 in Detroit, my guy. So like in the Warriors trifecta spot, that's the only way I'd look. And they'll win Warriors early and often, my brother. You see some questions from the chat?
Yeah, no, just continuing on. Let's go on here for a little bit. I want to talk to the guys in the chat. Guys, chat, please open up questions. Anything you have. If present games, past games, history of the league, betting, bankroll management, how we cap, anything, just drop it in the chat. We'll bring up the questions. But continue on this. I look at the Pistons Warriors game, and I do think to myself, like, it's kind of like a glorified YMCA game. And what I mean by that, for those who don't play, I know Jay plays. Jay's a hell of a lot better basketball player than me, I'll tell you that. I was watching you shoot free throws, fucking 99 out of 100 there. But when it comes down to it, I can play reasonably well. I'm a pretty good player myself. But, I used to play in the YMCA League. And the YMCA League, they don't defend. That's the key point. It's just kind of up and down. It's just, outlet pass, shoot, get back, boom, boom, boom. Guys are not really doing a whole lot. But when the NBA gets like that, and you see a Pistons team that refuses to defend, particularly against these top-level squads, that's where they score 140 points. because again, there's no real pressure on anything. So I think that's another point. The total's not out yet either. You could see an over here actually, because I think this game might be wide the hell open, just wide open.
Yeah, let me take a look at the pace last five. See how the Pistons middle of the pack, 17th in the league in pace last 5 games. So they will push it. Let's look at the Warriors here. Obviously, Warriors playing without Draymond Green. He is one of the main catalysts to push the pace. They're still 7th in pace. I can see it. Like I say, we don't have the number yet. Looking at defensive rating, the Pistons are 22nd last 5 games. So I think the Warriors, this is going to be tough. They just catching the Warriors in the wrong spot. They're coming off 3 or 4 losses. And they, like I say, they back at the house. Crowd will be on them. We know that the crowd going to turn up for Clay over there, even though he hadn't just looked particularly well. Steph probably going off in this one. No one to really just check Steph for me on that other side. I see Steph going crazy. I see a double-digit win here by the Warriors here, Shark. And like I say, this is one where we won't necessarily have to have the line yet, but it should definitely come out somewhere around from 11 to 12, I would think, before it probably get bid up.
Yeah, I think 12.5. It's always funny. I used to watch Bill Simmons. I don't know if you guys follow ESPN The Ringer, but Bill Simmons is not a professional handicapper, but he used to do it with his friends, and he thought it was fun. It is fun to look at the lines or look at the games without a line and say, where is this going to be? It's interesting to see how sharp you are in terms of the odds makers. But I think 12.5. So we'll see where that comes out tomorrow. But let's take some conversation here. I mean, I think there's a good chat going on here. What do you think?
Yeah, one of my guys in the chat. Yeah, I'll go and chat for about 5 minutes. I don't mind. I still got some stuff I got to go and handle. I must say, when I come on here late, I come and give them the betting info, but I don't mind a little chat with my guy here tonight. George Turner asked Jay why you don't like betting totals. I think the variance is very high. Obviously, in today's NBA, even betting spreads, the variance is very high. You could argue that going with some math predictions, you could be even closer on the totals, but the totals, man, they always seem to bite me in the ass. I take the under, they go over. It's overtime type shit. Y'all know earlier this season we had an under. It was a dead under spot. End up going to overtime. Those type will definitely keep you off, man. Overs. These guys can't hit the lighthouse with a brick. You dig what I'm saying? So that's just something personally I've saw over the years in my plays that I hit spreads, and I can kind of sort of call the game as far as who wins better than the pace, or if these guys will make shots tonight or play defense tonight. And I've always kind of liked to be an under better. Today's NBA is really tough to be an under better, guys, with the refs, with the pace, all these guys shooting 3 balls, the 3-ball variance. So that's a long answer of why I don't usually bet totals. Shark, any questions, or if you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, no, I do. Absolutely. I think commenting for you, if you don't mind, I think part of it is that it's really hard to cap totals and sides because there's just so much to look at all times. And even segueing out, somebody messaged me earlier and they said, why don't you cap college basketball? And I said, college basketball, 100 games a day, blah, blah, blah. But
I'm glad you said that. I got a couple college basketball looks for tomorrow too.
Oh, absolutely. As we come in here, but no, truly, I mean, I think that sometimes people don't realize how much work we actually put in just to get the sides we put out, because we look into such immense detail. And when you start to integrate totals as well, and then further, I would go quarters and halves, and then quarters and halves of totals. There are so many angles to look at in NBA basketball. I mean, you have 2 games, you could look at 15 different angles here, and that's not even accounting for second halves and in-game sides. And, I just think people need to realize it's really hard to be extremely optimal at multiple angles within a sport. And when you hone in on one thing, the ins and outs of it, the nuances of it, and you can really perform at a high level. So again, answering for you to a certain degree, but I'm speaking for myself as well. I've branched out into totals, but I've taken a lot of time. We come out here for 20-minute, 30-minute shows, and it's fast-paced. I sit around for hours in my lab here, and I look at this stuff, and I try to figure out the fluctuations, the patterns, and I can see if there's anything going on with the numbers. And then I come out here and I say, boom, 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 this, and that. But it takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of things you have to look at. So just a snapshot onto that. It's not as easy as it might seem when we come out here and talk about it. So
Exactly. Yeah. If you ask me, I think you have to be a total type of guy. It's a lot of things. I definitely pace is one of the first things you want to look at. And if I was to cap totals, it'd probably be like the first half. You know what I'm saying? Because I obviously things can change in the second half, halftime adjustments, tired legs, all type of things. Like I say, in-game adjustments. But that first half totals are probably one of the best things, sharpest things that you can look at here, Sharp. Couple of early looks, man. College basketball, since you guys mentioned it, just a couple of things that I was looking at. Oklahoma plus 3.5 over there versus Kansas. We know Remy Martin's been in and out of lineup. I think he's missed the last couple of games for him. Even if he plays for Kansas, this is a must-win spot for Oklahoma. They're 1-3 in the Big 12. Like I say, they got to win this game if they're trying to stay competitive over there in the conference. The home team is 8-1, 8-1 straight up. The last 10 means they're catching 3.5 home dog. In college, what I like to do, I like to take these home dogs that are, you know what I'm saying? College seems to, the home crowd really will jolt you, give you a boost in the right spots when you know what I'm saying. It could be a much sorrier team. That home crowd will really give them a jolt. But regardless, even with the team, a double revenge spot from the last year as well. Give me Oklahoma plus 3.5. And also, I'm looking at the Bunnies in that one, double revenge spot versus Dayton. They lost the last 6 meetings. This is one of the better chances for the St. Bonaventure to get a win over Dayton. And that one, a lot of young guys turn over the roster for Dayton. And that one, we'll see what happens. But I do like that Oklahoma spot. But I'm liking the Timberwolves, man. I'm an NBA guy here, Sharks. Let's go ahead and close it out. Try to come a quick 20 minutes. Anything else in the chat you seeing, my guy? I'll let you answer a question before we get up out of here.
Yeah, definitely. Couple actually, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Christopher Williams in the chat said, "Do you need to take a break if you're getting cold, or what do you go harder? What do you go harder? You go fitness, get fit. That'll make your mind sharp. But when you get cold, you have to ask yourself a question: what am I missing? And if you're not missing, if you're just in a variant environment, and variance in terms of what's going on here, I think a lot of people don't understand when I say variance. It's a statistical term, and it basically means that it's in terms of just the fluctuations of numbers. You got to understand, like, pro athletes function on numerical averages. I always talk about this. Like, if you went out and ran a mile time every day for a month, and your average was like 6:58, and then we set your line at 6:58 and a half, you would have no edge on your line if you were required to run at your maximum capacity. So sometimes they're just razor sharp. And if you're in a bad market, you should step back, because that means there's no edge on anything. But if you're in a good market and you just get unlucky, just keep pressing and go harder on it. But one thing that I should say, and this applies to nothing with myself and Jay, but a lot of people that gamble, particularly in gambling Twitter, actually, get a close window, small ego going because they hit things that are actually not statistically probable, because anything can happen in a small window. And if you really are getting too hot, you can really drive yourself nuts. I always talk about this. What the worst thing that could ever happen to a gambler is you get hot early in your career. And if you get hot early in your career and you're not actually really numerically backed by what's going on, you will always remember how hot you were, the high you got in terms of your energy, and you will always hold on to that. It's almost like an addiction. An addiction, you always remember
exactly.
the original high, right? And it never gets better, but you somehow always remember the original high. The original high of gambling is the same thing. You get real high in the beginning. You remember, oh my God, that one week I won 8-10K. Everything couldn't go wrong. And then it's like, how does that not happen again? The mind somehow fails you in that environment. So just remember, you have to actually realize, am I good or am I not? If you're not, that's why we do this show every day, to help you guys stay centered in the endeavor and also understand the reasoning behind what we're doing here. So that's a real important point. Don't go too rogue on your own. Of course, your boys, your family, your girl, everybody's going to drive you nuts because they don't really know what they're looking at. And it's legalized in so many states now, and it will be federally legalized in the next 2 to 4 years. We are guys that do this for a living. We do it every day of our life. So we're here to coach you guys more so than even give you the official play. So real important stuff there.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I'm glad you said it, and I'm also glad that when I started out, I lost a ton. I started out betting parlays, betting NFL and shit. I was getting my ass handed to me. I kept going back as well. Like I can't do this. I can't let this beat me. So I'm actually glad when I started out betting that I was absolutely terrible. It taught me that, hey, it's only up from here. And I also noticed as well, if you're not, like you say, if you're not good at something, don't keep pressing on. Don't lose all your money. You know what I'm saying? Or look to venture to other guys. You don't have to be ashamed to look for other people for advice or for other people for help, guys. You don't necessarily have to do it yourself. If you're good at something, hey, do it. I always say try to do your homework. Trust yourself, guys. But like I say, I always appreciate doing the show with my guy Shark. Some life talk in here, some betting info, all of that good stuff. Go and follow my guy on Twitter, Sharks in Sports. You can follow me as well at J Money is Money. We back live tomorrow. We appreciate everybody in the chat, man. Love the hell out of you guys. In all honesty, the chat does make the show. I learned it out early on when I was in chats of other shows. The chat really does make the show for sure. We see you guys in the chat. Love you guys. We're trying to cash some tickets. Timberwolves tomorrow. Let's cash, my guys. We out.